The remastered GTA trilogy has been unavailable on PC for over a day. I think that was because what? It was just bad, right? Contains controversial hot coffee, sex code. That was just removed eventually or something. GTA trilogy pours rain so hard it's nearly unplayable. Damn, this game came out, or these three games came out really bad. How did they mess up a port of like an old set of games? Like, they had the code there, and they could just up. I that's interesting. And hello, everybody, welcome back. As you could see, yeah, the GTA remaster that everybody was hyping up, no good. At least from what I can see, anyway. So hello, everyone. Yeah, I really wanted good news this week, but let's start out with some controversy, particularly with the fact that the GTA remasters came out less than stellar, to put it lightly. I'll talk about a few other things, some of it good, some of it a little less good, but let's first just start off with the GTA remaster and why did it come out so bad? Who knows? I'll try to answer that question a little bit. So, to first start out, at the very least I think SkillUp can give some insight, and it's how to scam your customers with the remaster. It's the Strauss Zelnick way, or also Bobby Kotick depending on the game. So base the GTA remasters off the mobile ports, ignore issues identified during development, issue DMCA strikes to community mods, delist originals from Steam, don't release gameplay prior to launch, and don't issue review codes and you can profit. And yeah, SkillUp basically hits up the entirety of like why this remaster came out poorly, because if you look at like Cyberpunk, you play that game for 5-10 minutes, you just know it's got issues. And it isn't like it's some game-breaking bug that you can only do, after following a certain steps that are really particular and really hard to emulate on like a regular playthrough. GTA the remasters, you could play the game and it's just bad. As I showed you earlier, the rain was pretty bad. They had to get taken off of the Rockstar launcher, and yeah. I'm pretty sure that this is strictly a management issue, and it's not the developers that didn't know what they were doing, or, they were like, I don't care, let's just release this. I definitely think that, now, I don't know about the remaster being based off the mobile ports, but if it is, that's kind of messed up, because you have the PC port, you can just use that, or the PC game. But so, most of the time, games coming out this poorly is just a management issue, because there's no way that a development team wants to send out a game with bugs, because that would just be bad. But obviously management wants their money, and so they'll send out the game, even if the developers say it's not ready yet. And now, I would be more forgiving if, as I said before, the game had like one game-breaking bug that you have to do specific things to somehow break it. In that case, you can't reasonably predict that, and I would be more than okay with just saying, that's just one bug, they'll fix it, they'll make sure it can't happen, or, prevent you from doing it, but yeah. Strauss Zelnick basically just pushed out the games, essentially, and the management team pushed out the games in an unfinished state. And I do hope that they fix it, but I wish there was more punishment for, Strauss Zelnick, or at least the management team that, pushed out the game when it wasn't clearly ready. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think about this. So, up next, I want to talk about Elden Ring, and yeah, it looks pretty good. As an open world Dark Souls game, it seems to be like a great game, at least from the first area. There's some really good things that they do, such as like making you want to explore the world with how vast and open that it feels like. And particularly one thing I found really interesting is that some enemies will just hunt you in the overworld. For example, there's like this dragon that kind of just comes down and is like, what are you? And I think it's really interesting how they did the open world aspect and making it not feel empty, but something that you can explore, unlike modern open world games. So yeah, at the very least, I think Elden Ring will be an interesting concept, if not good. I think it'll be fine, because if it just takes Dark Souls combat, combined it with Bloodborne Sekiro, there's no way that, at least gameplay-wise, it'd be that bad. The overworld might be like drab or really hard to explore. We'll have to see about that in the full context of the game, but at the very least in the first area, it seemed to do pretty good. And so yeah, I'm really excited to see what Elden Ring's up to, but it's not coming out, until February? Yeah, so we'll see what happens then, but it looks interesting to me at the very least. Let me know what you think about it. So, up next, I do want to talk about the Travis Scott controversy. For those that don't know, Travis Scott was hosting a concert at Astroworld, and then there were 8 people that perished due to what is known as crowd crushing. And so, awful tragedy, multiple people got hurt, and it's just awful. Now, why am I talking about this on the Gaming News channel? Well, as you can see from the title, Fortnite halts sales of Travis Scott emote days after concert tragedy. And it's a little bit interesting, as morbid as that might sound, to see the repercussions that they have, at least in the entertainment industry. Particularly in this case, like Fortnite, where they had an emote of Travis Scott, and then after this controversy and tragedy occurred, they pulled the emote after, this happened. And so, as bad as this is going to sound, I'm kind of interested to see, like, celebrities that are getting themselves into the game. Like, Ariana Grande has a skin in Fortnite, Marshmello has a skin in Fortnite. How do these companies deal with the controversy, right? Because if they continue selling the emote, I'm pretty sure at least some of the profit goes to the original artist. And so, it's interesting to see, like, how will they play it out? And let's say Travis Scott ends up, being unable to continue his music career after this. I doubt it, but let's just say in a hypothetical, what would happen to like all these emotes and skins of Travis Scott? Would they just remove it and refund the people that bought them, or would they keep it in but then just not sell any more skins? So I'm kind of interested to see what they will do, but of course I wish I didn't have to talk about this, particularly with the people that ended up dying at the Astroworld concert. I just hearts out to all their family members and to those affected by the tragedy. So, up next, I want to talk about Halo Infinite's multiplayer, supposedly coming out the 15th of November. Now, why would I just report on a rumor with no backing? Now, there's your first fault. I do have at least some backing, supposedly at the very least. So, Xbox Store data mine says November 15th for the multiplayer. Halo Dotapi was the first to report it, yada yada yada, and there are multiple links. I'll link this down below for you to take a look and see if it's valid or not. But I definitely do think there's a potential of the multiplayer being sent out first and then the single player coming out later, for those that are interested in the multiplayer, they're like, hey, I kind of want to know the story a little bit more. And so I definitely think it's interesting to see that they're going to be dropping the multiplayer first and then the main game, at least the single player game, later on. And I think this will do some good, at least assuming that the multiplayer comes out fine. From the beta that people played, people were like, hey, this game runs great, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And no doubt that if they were to just release the beta then, I think that it could have just been a full-on Halo multiplayer experience and people would be fine with it. And so, I think this would be a good move, potentially, but at the same time, I'm also a little bit skeptical because, to shadow drop it, it's potentially, really good. For example, like, certain games get shadow dropped and, oh my gosh, it suddenly does huge because, oh my gosh, it's the new Halo, the multiplayer's out. And so, it could be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing because people might just wait until the single player comes out, play that, and then play the multiplayer. I don't know how many people actually do that, but I definitely think that there is some merit to saying that it won't come out the 15th, but I would be interested if it does come out the 15th. Wait a minute. There is an Xbox Celebration too. Guys, what happens if the Xbox Celebration and the Halo Infinite multiplayer are announced on the same day? Or announced within the event? I definitely think it's got some potential. This rumor might have some things. But yeah, so I'm not entirely sure, but I would be interested to see if they did drop the multiplayer tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. And we'll see if they do. But comment about what you think about this, if you think it'd be a good move or a bad move, or maybe just an okay move. Let me know in the comments down below. So, up next, I want to talk about Battlefield 2042 and the kind of shambles that it's in. Like the GTA Remastered, I definitely think that both of these games came out a little bit earlier than they should have. If you take a look at the Battlefield 2042 edition, there's definitely a few bugs, at least graphically, that are not handled well, some sound issues, I believe, and yeah, let's just say that the game did not come out in a proper state. Another issue is like the core gameplay, and that might take some time for people to really build upon, so I won't say much about that for now, but people are saying that it doesn't feel that great. And that's not good, particularly for a game that they were banking on to be really big. But, again, like the San Andreas remaster, and the GTA remaster in general, I definitely think this game came out a little bit too early, and I don't think that much design time was put into it, so I don't know. We'll have to see, though. Maybe people warm up to the idea of the specialist within Battlefield 2042, but I'm not sure. But it definitely needed more time to at least handle the graphical glitches, errors, and stuff like that. Up next, I'm going to talk about blockchains and what can it do for video games, and I don't know. I can't think of anything, and neither can these people either. So, Jason Schreier in a tweet puts out, I've been reading and chatting with people in hopes of understanding why so many game companies are acting so excited about blockchain, and every single answer seems to be, this is the future of the industry, but we don't know why. And this is from the earnings calls. Andrew Wilson of EA, anything that brings more people in and engages those people for more time in the context of the entertainment it would create, I think, it's a good thing over time. I think that is the very foundation of our live services. I think the play to earn or the NFT conversation is still really, really early, and there's a lot of conversation, and there's at some level a lot of hype about it. I do think it will be an important part of the future of our industry on a go-forward basis, but it's still early to kind of figure out how that's going to work. I feel good about our position with respect to that. I mean, as a company, we have been leaders in the creation of digital content that has real collectible value in the embedding of that content as part of live services. Now, of course, I expect this from EA, basically trying to get on the hype of NFTs, or just blockchain in general, and I don't know exactly what they could do that would, that's not already been done before. So if you look at, TF2, for example, when a new weapon comes out, you can craft it, and depending on who's the first to craft it, second, third, first, or whatever, you get a, marker saying, oh, you were number 1, you were the first one to craft it, you were number 2, 3, and I think it goes up to 1,000 or so. And so I just don't quite get it. Companies can already track who owns what, and assuming that servers aren't hacked and data isn't changed, I just don't feel like there's anything here that would do any good. And the fact that they also, or at least the IRS, said you have to report how much money you make from selling something or buying something over $10,000 in digital assets, what are these NFTs are going to really do? With the amount of electricity that it takes to create them, it just, I don't get it. I really just don't. And to go down further to Jason's thoughts, which are basically mine, I don't think there's anything blockchain can do that hasn't already been possible in video game development for years. So I think the actual answer is saying the word blockchain makes investors horny. True. By the way, I legitimately want to know what blockchain can do for gaming that hasn't been done possible before, if anyone has an answer, but people are getting a one-of-a-kind items and selling gold for real cash in World of Warcraft circa 2004 and MUDs 10 years before that. And supposedly, one answer that he was given, and this one seems interesting, one answer I've seen is you can own items and transfer them across different games, as if making a single video game isn't a logistical nightmare as it is. What game is going to have the time and budget to create and balance assets from other games too? And yeah, he has a point. You don't even need an NFT to do that. Just have a local game server check your progress on another account. So, for example, let's say Warframe developers, Digital Extremes makes a new game. I don't know, and you can transfer some of the Warframe weapons into your into their new game. They just have a local server to do that. What? And as he mentions, it's a logistical nightmare to make just a single game. I mean, I've been trying to do mine, and it is a logistical nightmare. And so I don't know exactly how they would transfer one item to another. And even if you could, let's just say both games are intertwined with each other, you could just do that with the local server. Or you could do that with just local data, assuming it's the same company, right? So League has League of Legends and their card game? Or what's the auto chess game? I forget that one. But you could, I guess, transfer skins over or whatever, but that doesn't really need any more code, really. You could just put a few lines, check for what skins they have, place them in. I don't know. It just seems weird that people are pushing for NFTs in video games but don't have a clue what they can do that's so different that we can't already do. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, because yeah, I don't have a clue. I legitimately don't know, and I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it for what NFTs need to have in order to be created. Yes! Anyway, done with my celebration. GSD data shows that Call of Duty Vanguard has struggled at digital and physical retail, and it's about by 40% down on a year-to-year basis. So, at least in the UK, sales are down by 40% over last year's game, and physical retail sales dropped 26%, whereas the digital sales fell 44%. And yeah, it's disappointing, sure, but it's still the second biggest game launch of the year behind FIFA 2022. which I still don't get how people buy that game. Anyway, as the article mentions, it's tempting to speculate that this may highlight fatigue within the Call of Duty franchise, but were a few areas that might have negatively impacted sales this year. And to be fair, they're right. So, for example, the fact that we're still coming out of the pandemic. Now, really last year was when the pandemic happened, but, you know, they had the game released already. They released the game and it did fine. And this year it's only down by 40%. But, I don't know. It's a World War II game, and most of the time those games haven't done well. Like Call of Duty World War II did poorly when it came out, and this one kind of just follows the trend essentially. And yeah, there's also a lot of competition too, right? With like Battlefield 2042, Halo Infinite, and Warzone, the Battle Royale version of Call of Duty. So I'm not entirely surprised by this number. I'm still kind of just surprised that it's still the second biggest launch of the year. I still don't get how. But so, you know, while this looks really, really bad, Bobby Kotick's still rolling in the money. It's probably the developers that are, you know, hurting the most from this. The fact that they have to push out a game every single year, and, you know, it's probably not good on them. Now, of course, I do know that there's multiple internal studios that make games every 3 years, but when it's a yearly release, you really can't change that much of it, and so, I don't know. I'm just saying, I hate the fact that Call of Duty still exists, not only because of the company, but also the fact that it's a yearly release and people still purchase the games, and it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it, personally, but that's just me. So let me know what you think about the newest Call of Duty. Do you think it's good? Do you think that it's bad? Do you have like a mixed opinion on it? And do you think that this will be maybe a new trend now? Now, of course, I really don't think so, but it could be Call of Duty fatigue now after, what, like 10 years or so? 14? It's a long time of Call of Duty games being released yearly. You know, who knows? Maybe now Call of Duty fatigue's finally setting in. Maybe FIFA and other yearly sports games that are being released are also facing fatigue soon too. And this is just maybe the prelude. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Oh yeah, and finally, I want to talk about SMT5. As you can see, there's a premium edition. But I'm kind of more interested to see, with the success of Persona 5 within at least Western audiences, will SMT5 have the same impact? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm kind of interested to see if it will. SMT5, or the SMT series in general, and Persona are pretty different. Persona is more character-driven, more so than the story, and with the interactions that you have with the other characters in the game. SMT is more about the overarching philosophical questions. And so I wonder if, while SMT5 is different from Persona 5, obviously, I wonder if this will affect game sales by any chance, and if it does, will it be for the better or worse? And will this resonate better with audiences? I definitely think that this game will do a lot better than SMT4. Maybe not as well as Persona 5, but we'll see. I'm kind of interested to figure out whether or not SMT5 resonates with Western audiences, and this might be the huge breakthrough that Shin Megami Tensei needs, or if it'll still remain relatively niche-ish, somewhat to like Persona 5 being relatively niche-ish. We'll see. But I'm interested to know what your opinion about SMT and Persona is. Let me know in the comments down below. So, that's the end of this week's news. There are some particularly interesting pieces and some very depressing ones, particularly with the Travis Scott incident. I really do hope that those affected by it, my heart goes out to them. I really hope that they can find peace eventually, but it's awful. But so yeah, while there are some bad things in the world, there's some good things too. And I hope only more good things happen, because otherwise that'd be very depressing. But anyway, let me know what you think about this week's content. Tell me in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. And share the video with other people. Because I'd like a lot of people to watch my videos. I want to be noticed. Ooh. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Yeah, I'll see y'all next week.